You came back when they didn't really need you anymore. Move on to the future. Kyle Trask.
I was about to say, let Kyle Trask eat.
Mark my words. Kyle Trask will be the starter by week 13.
Oh,
like
clip that one.
Wow.
Is Tom Brady having a down year, or has Father Time begin to show up? You know, he's had, like we talked about before, an up and down year. We've seen the discussion last week as we talked about the argument he had with his offensive line. Brady last week didn't throw a touchdown at all. He averaged 5.9 yards last week. That's poultry. We're talking about Tom Brady, what we consider one of the greatest quarterbacks in the NFL. Between Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, there were 28 targets between them, only 16 catches. Now, you got to put some blame on the receivers, but again, when you look back at those balls that are being thrown at them and pause, they're not the best. Tom Brady for this year, when you look at it, especially when he's throwing deep, you see that, there's a little lost on that throw. The ball isn't getting to where it needs to be. It's not going as far downfield. It's not getting, the air isn't carrying it as much as it used to. So he's losing a little bit. I don't know if it's on his arm. We don't know yet. Could it be the offensive line? A lot of people bring that into play. But just listen to this. Tom Brady is pressured less than 20% of the game last week. Not only that, Tom Brady is the least pressured quarterback in the NFL this season. So you can't bring up the line as an excuse. So what is it? Is it father time? Because we're talking about, 46 years old, if I'm not mistaken? The oldest quarterback to ever play? How long can he hold up? Is this the year that he can't do it any longer? Who knows? So let me ask you all. Do you think it's father time? Or is he just having a bad year?
Who do you want to answer first?
I'll go with Papa. He looks like he's been thinking about it.
I mean, I feel like you could say a little bit, because right off the offseason, you had 3 starting offensive linemen. Just in the center position alone, go down with injuries. So that O-line's been dealing with injuries. You had a lot of guys leave in the offseason. And then you got to also add all the stuff going on with home, with good old Giselle and everything. Whether you want to argue that Giselle and Father Time are basically the same thing because they've been whipping that man for years, it's a completely different conversation.
Oh, no, they're a Jace. They're a Jace.
They're conjoined at the hip at this point.
Well, I'll explain it real fast. The reason why I say they're a Jason is because after a while, especially with Tom Brady's career, you're going to have to put your things away and focus on your family. So, yeah, after a while, time catches up to you where now you need to focus on your loved ones, your wife, most importantly, your children. And we all know, we all had the memes out there at the beginning of the season. Tom retired, came out. What was it? F them kids.
Yeah.
Tom ain't about that life.
That's exactly what it is. So
the Antonio Brown book is still hilarious. So
I mean,
out the window.
I feel like there's not one real answer for this question, because you could look at a lot of things. It could just be a down year. It could just be father time, or it could just be that O-line is decimated. Because, I mean, you've even seen... It also might just be the fact that it's the coach. Brady might just want Arians back. So, I don't know. I feel like there's too many questions, not enough answers.
Don, what do you think?
Hey, I'll say it's a little bit of both, but mine's kind of the same, kind of different. The down year, I think, is more distraction down year. Not coming on to practice with the rest of the group, taking extra time away, plus all the at-home issues. I think that's the down part. I think the other 80% is father time. It like Dante says, father time is undefeated. It happens. You're seeing it in multiple cases this year, and it is what it is, man. You got to accept it.
Yeah, it's true. I'll say this real fast before I let Dante say something. As a father, and I don't want to put Tom Brady's business out there because I don't know all of his business, but I will say this: dealing with a possible divorce, with the thought of your children not waking up in the same home as you, takes an effect. It takes an effect in every aspect of your life.
Yep.
Now, like I said, Father Time is undefeated, but damn, a situation like that will speed the process along a hell of a lot faster. Go ahead, Dante.
I mean, it's kind of a trick question. Because if Father Time hits, doesn't that be considered a down year?
True.
So I'm going to say, and I said this based off of my rankings this year, I had Tom Brady at number 9 and people lost their mind. I had Aaron Rodgers at number 10 and people lost their mind. And now you're starting to see that. These guys are not the same. This is the year that Father Time was just going to catch up to him. And unfortunately, it's hitting Aaron Rodgers sooner than it's hitting Tom Brady. Because say what you want. Aaron Rodgers doesn't look the same even with those wide receivers. He's never had a problem throwing to nobodies. Like Devontae Adams wasn't this world beater when he was in Green Bay. But this is not about Aaron Rodgers. This is about Tom Brady. Tom Brady has all the weapons in the world still at the wide receiving core. Mike Evans is still having a great year. That defense has got to step up too. But is it down to Todd Bowles? Maybe. Byron Leftwich is still his offensive coordinator. So where are these struggles coming from? It's him. Father Time is coming. He is regressing. This is going to be Tom Brady's last year. You shouldn't have came back, Tom. Like, you should have just wrote it. You were a Super Bowl contender last year that just so happens to find an early exit in the play after the wild card round, and everybody was still calling you the GOAT. And when you retired, everybody was like, touche on a great career. You came back.
We were mourning. Tampa Bay was mourning for you.
You came back when they didn't really need you anymore. Move on to the future. Kyle Trask.
I was about to say, Kyle Trask.
Mark my words. Kyle Trask will be the starter by week 13.
Oh,
I like
clip
it.
that one.
Wow.
So I will say, I don't know if you saw, but in the middle of work today, I saw a report. Giselle has given Tom Brady a final ultimatum to save marriage. So according to U.S. Weekly, Giselle told Tom either he leaves football to spend time with the family or she is gone for good. She doesn't want him to. She doesn't
Week
want
13,
him to continue to get injured and not be able to enjoy life in his future.
True.
She's doing it for her family. Giselle and Tom's friends are upset at Tom for going back on his word and coming out of retirement. They hate the way Tom is refusing to bend for Giselle.
I don't care. I don't care, Tom. You did what you had to do. You don't have. This is one of those athletes where it's like you don't have to prove anything else.
No,
you're good.
Well, let me play devil's advocate on that one because you got to understand. And for someone who's played football since the age of 5, that's all you've known. That's all your life. You've overcome so much where they said you can't do that. You can't go in the NFL. Guess what? Drew Henson's going to start in front of you. Guess what? You're the 199th pick. Guess what? You're not the starter. We got Drew Bledsoe ahead of you. Guess what? We were thinking about putting Drew ahead of you, even though you're
chip off, Tom. You won 6.
But that's the thing.
7.
You've done that all your life, and you have your mindset just in one way. Like you might say it's corny, but when he says that TB12 method, he honestly believes in it. That's what he goes by. That's what got him to where he needs to, where he is now. But at a certain point, you do have to give it up. You have to look around you and see, like, I've arrived to a certain point where I don't need the accolades. When he won that Super Bowl with Tampa, I don't care if it was a 2-year deal. Guess what? I'm going to retire. I'm going to focus on my family. I've done all that I need to do. I've done what, the greats have done. A lot of people can't say that, I've retired while I won a Super Bowl. Jerome Bettis, John Elway, they rode into the sunset with glory behind them. That's what Tom Brady should have done.
Yep, absolutely.
It's like an addiction in a way. When you win those Super Bowls and you're at a certain point, you want to keep on chasing that. But again, if you're not there physically, if you're not there mentally, you might as well not be in it at all because we've seen what's going on this season. This is exactly what happens. Your life, for better or worse, goes to hell.
Yep.
That's what happens.
Yep. Exactly.
It's kind of like Dark Knight. You're the hero, but if you're the hero long enough, you live long enough to be the villain.
Yep.
That's exactly what it is. He was the hero. Now within his own private circle, within some in the NFL when they talk about could have given Trask a shot, he's the villain.
Exactly. And just breaking news: the wife got inside the house tonight. Let's go ahead and clap it up for me. Let's go, Vic.